A couple of your guys were talking after the game about is Keanu and Nick Herbig about lack of energy, lack of tenacity, lack of mental toughness when it got to a 3-point deficit. And sometimes those comments after a loss can be kind of guys just not making excuses, but defaulting like, hey, we weren't at our best. I'm just curious, did you sense anything before the game, during the game, that some guys weren't at their best mentally? I guess you can only speak to your defense, but
No, I think to me the biggest thing was the flow of the game, right?
Okay.
You add penalties, you add goofy things in that happen, some of the turnover, the double
Right.
turnovers and
Yeah.
things like that, just choppy, right? It makes the game more choppy, so it's always going to feel a little bit up and down, right? You go long drives, you get double timeouts, you get goofy situations. Like, we have to be able to overcome that. Like, not excuse. Like, crowd was there, crowd was into it. We got to handle our business and execute better. But to me, it's a flow of the game thing. When you see the penalty, how many second and longs or first and longs did we end up getting, right? So it's kind of this riding the wave, moving the ball, playing well on defense. Like, offense get a long drive, you get a 3 and out. Feels like you're not on the field. I think we played 20 plays the first half. You play a up-tempo team where you're ready to be on the field at times for longer stretches, and you're sitting at halftime with 20 plays. It's just a kind of a weird feel to a game, and we gotta execute. It doesn't matter, and whatever happens at the end, like, we have to find a way to give the offense one more opportunity, just like we did in the first half. Right, we did a great job of creating energy in the building, right? Big hits and a quick 3 and out to get the ball back. We got to do that again, right? That's our job in that situation, and unfortunately we couldn't get it done.
that said, how do you react to a couple leaders saying talking about themselves, saying, I need to do a better job making sure our guys are into the game? Do you view that as a positive?
Yeah, I mean, you always respect our guys and our leaders, man. They play as hard as we can ask them to play, and they care about the locker room. They care about doing things the right way. So you're always appreciative of that kind of attitude. I mean, I take some of the emotional comments after games with a grain of salt, because a lot of times what you feel like happens, or what you feel like was going on, you watch the tape or you sit back a little bit and things change. So I never get too excited, good or bad, when comments come out after games. It's getting guys to understand, just be careful, see it, let the emotions die out, and figure out what the actual story of the game was.
You mentioned the defense not to get the ball back for the offense on the very last drive, but outside of that, do you feel like your group did enough to put this team in position to win? And if not, what were the areas that you felt like you could have done better?
I talk with our guys a lot on games like that. Any close games, doesn't matter. High scoring, low scoring. In a lot of ways, you do enough to win, and you've also do enough to lose, right? I think some of the tackling out in space was not great from the beginning. First play on, and it hurt us in some big moments where you got to find ways to get those guys on the ground. You knew that's the type of game it was going to be, where they're going to force you to make plays over in space, and when you sit at the end of it, and we did put up some good numbers. We got some turnovers. When one of your worst plays is a turnover, it's hard to be super critical. Frustrated with myself on one call on a big play, just off of a tempo, put them in a tough spot to communicate. So, a lot of things that I can do better, a lot of things as a defense we can do better. When you hold a team to 17, you got to feel like you have a chance, right? But we left plenty of plays out there that we're kicking ourselves over as a defense that we know we can execute better.
The play was it the boundary throw?
Yeah,
The
the vertical up the boundary, just late enough off of their tempo that our guys were in a bad position, and I can help them more than I did. And very frustrated on the way that one played out. But we have an opportunity. The guy makes a great throw and catch. We're hitting him as he catches it. You give him credit, but I can help our guys better than I did with that call.
Jim, have you seen Luma reacting faster and playing faster this year than maybe he has in the past?
Yeah, it really has been fun to watch him grow, really going back to the spring, and kind of as he was kind of feeling things out. And then I think when he got back in fall camp, and really about a week into fall camp, like, everything clicked, and just playing so much faster, more confident, and it's showing up on game days. And I think improvement from week 1 to week 2. You know, some of the little things that we talked to him about coming out of week 1 on finishing tackles and squaring guys up and how he was playing took another step forward. Always things to clean up. You know, he wasn't perfect in the game. You have some things he can clean up. But just the growth, like I said, when you kind of look back at where he was in the spring of knowing there's going to be a big competition coming and I think pressing at times, but getting better, kind of settling down in fall camp and really becoming a great player, I think, for this defense. I'm excited for him as the course of the season goes on.
He's spoken about how much visualization has helped him, like away from the field, just kind of, then when he gets to the field, he feels like, I've seen this stuff before and I know how to react. Has he talked to you or anybody around you that you know of about that process and kind of learning how to do that?
Yeah, I think I've seen him talk to a lot of people, and he's very cerebral. So I think early on in his career was that over-processing a little bit, and there's a time and a place for it, right? And going through that visualization and just different ways to watch tape, like how can you make it easy for yourself? He's done a great job of kind of knowing like that was a problem early, was overthinking when it's time to react, right? And then learning kind of how to study and handle that business when you're not in between the white lines. And he's done a great job, and I think you see the growth, and that just allows that guy's ability to come out a lot more because he's playing instinctive, he's reacting to things, and he's not trying to over-process in the moment. And yeah, I've seen him have multiple conversations with people throughout the building on kind of all those steps, and it's fun when it kind of clicks and you see a guy playing with a lot of confidence.
Did you have a message for Jay Shaw after that tough play where he got the pick and then fumbled right away?
Yeah, it's tough. You don't need to say much to a guy like Jay, man. He's very smart. He has high football IQ. He knows got to protect the ball. Gets excited. You know, he's trying to make a play, make a guy miss, and give the receiver credit. You know, coming from back out of bounds, snapping back to the field and attacking the football. Really good play on his part, and you always have to be smart as a DB or anyone on defense. You get a turnover because you lose track of guys. You don't know what's behind you, don't know what's around you. So the emphasis is always on ball security in those situations. So he's not a guy that you have to get on. You know, he knows. You know, he's a vet. He's played a ton of football. He understands what happened and kind of how that killed the momentum, right? It turns a huge play and field position into kind of a new chance at life, and they took advantage of it. So not a guy you have to beat up about it because he understands ball and he gets it. And you know, when you're critiquing guys off of great plays and that's one of the worst plays of the day, like it's a pretty good spot to start, man. I got a lot of confidence in the way he's playing and what he's doing for this team, and he's going to continue to get better as he gets even more comfortable in this defense.
You went with 6 DBs pretty frequently in that game. I'm trying to remember, have you gone with one lineman in packages before?
We did it at Arizona State last year a little bit, and really a similar situation when we just felt we need speed on the field to tackle a guy who's going to run around. And you know, the dime package, we did it last year out of our nickel package, this year out of dime just because of the 4 receiver sets that they were doing. I think we got a talented secondary. Max Lofi played a great game. Obviously gets his first career interception. Did a lot of really good things for us. Yeah, a lot of it came from we wanted as much speed to chase that guy in the pocket as we could, and felt like that was the best 11, you know, kind of grouping to get it done. And when you're able to stop the run outside of the last drive, we made some mistakes. To be able to stop the run really well out of that is encouraging, because you're almost daring a team like that to run at times, and I think it was 2-point-something a carry. So we did a great job. We had errors on the last drive that plays we fit up correctly early in the game, and all of a sudden it becomes a first down and busts and big plays when you can't afford it.
Are you also encouraged that you saw some good things without having Clark and Smith available to play?
Yeah, I got a ton of confidence in the depth of this group. I thought it was going to be a strength of ours. Well, okay. We wish we had everybody available from week 1, but we haven't. And you know, we knew our guys were going to go out there and compete. We knew we had a talented group of guys. Hopefully, as we continue to get the numbers back, we're able to keep them fresh and just continue to use the versatility. I think we got a lot of guys that can do different things, whether it's playing in the slot, playing outside, playing safety. Like, there is a lot of versatility in our entire secondary, and I think you're seeing that in the first couple of games, even though we have, some key contributors, guys that will be key contributors that haven't played yet.
Apologies if you could ask. Some guys mentioned that you group on top. Is that an easy fix for you guys, or what are the coaching points?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it can be corrected. In a number of situations, it really comes from a good place. It's guys trying to do a little too much. They're trying to help here. They're trying to do this, and in a game as it goes on, you realize that the running back was a huge outlet for the quarterback, right? In the past, what you saw on tape with that guy is he's going to try to extend plays and push the ball vertically, kind of hit that intermediate passing game. Well, as the game went on, man, you just get it to the back, and we were leaving a little too much air, right? So comes from a good place of trying to force checkdowns, trying to throw the ball in space, but you're also giving good ball carriers a little too much air to make plays. And Nakia, I give him a lot of credit, man. I loved him when he was here, man. I thought he was a great kid and showed up big. He showed up in a big way for him and made some plays out in space. And even on stuff where he didn't break tackles, the difference between playing 3rd and 6 and 3rd and 2, right, in some of those situations, kind of a big difference in the flow of the game.
Was there too much air on the touchdown pass where he made Kamoy, or was that just...
Yeah, it just came from a little bit of alignment and doing too much, right? Okay. Kind of reroute here, try to get under this route, and all of a sudden lost leverage. Closes space, right? Triggers on the play, but really just gave himself a poor angle and a guy just enough time to make a reaction. So it's stuff we can clean up. I mean, there's technical things that came up on some of the other screens on footwork and trusting ourselves to make those plays, but a lot of it came from a good place of trying to do a little too much to help somebody around them, not sell somebody out, but put ourselves in bad position at times. Different people, because safeties, linebackers, we all kind of took our turns on it. But obviously Moe's was a big one because it led to the touchdown.
Jim, it's another year, more coaching carousel, and your name again kind of put on a couple of lists with an opening within the division. Just what are your reactions of being mentioned in those type of lists? Is it flattery or distraction or other emotions, or not even paying attention?
I mean, I understand it. I don't really pay too much attention. I get a lot of texts and calls about it. It's funny. There was a lot of verified, kind of random sources out there yesterday that I had taken jobs. It was pretty funny to see. But I mean, I've talked it a lot, man. I'm comfortable here. I'm not saying that this is the place I'll be the rest of my life, but I love this place. I love what we're doing. I like the guys and who I'm coaching with, so I'm not in a rush to make decisions that I think some people think I am. So I'm excited to right the ship. Coming off a loss, don't like where we're at. That's my focus right now. I'm not worried about anything else, and it's kind of crazy to see, within the course of seasons, these decisions being made, obviously more and more year in and year out, which just adds to more and more speculation when games are being played where that really wasn't the norm not too long ago.
That's what I wanted to ask as a follow-up, Jim, is that the cycle used to start turning late November, early December as the earliest. So do you see that as a negative to a potential candidate like yourself that this comes up now?
To me, it's just everyone's trying to get ahead of it, right? They know recruiting and everything is such a huge piece, and guess what? They're trying to make decisions to show we're changing direction, we're moving forward. It makes it awkward for a lot of people, right? Because you're doing what you're doing, having jobs, stuff like that, and all of a sudden your name gets started thrown around. It's a product of the cycle of college football and it being year round and everything happening faster and trying to get ahead of, in reality, it's the recruiting piece of it. And I think it's unfortunate. I think it needs to change because it gets, what are you doing, right? I hate for what it does to the kids at Nebraska, right? I hate what it does for the players, and you think of all the situations that, you're asking these guys to do so much and buy in and be team, and then you make these decisions. What are you telling them? And then when kids make decisions to leave, you jump on their back. So I think it puts the kids in the worst position, because how are they supposed to feel when they're getting preached to do things the right way and be committed to things, and then all of a sudden there's drastic changes like this 2-3 weeks into a season? It just looks bad to me. So I think that needs to be changed more than anything, because puts off the wrong, message on what's really important.
Once again, sorry for being asked, but what kind of job have Noma and Jordan Turner done in terms of communicating from the middle of the defense?
I think the communication's been good. You see some young moments every once in a while where they'll get locked in on some things, but overall I think they've played very well. Physical, right, making a ton of plays for us. Communication's been pretty clean. I think they'll just continue to grow as they get comfortable, and it's, as coaches for us, it's just always trying to learn and manage guys who haven't had a bunch of experience and reps as you go through a season. What do they need on a Tuesday? What do they need on a Wednesday? What's the game plan? Like, is it too much? Is it too little? There's a lot of give and take, I think, early in a season as you're learning kind of who your playmakers are, how they communicate, and really what's kind of the right balance of scheme and letting guys go play hard and be physical and be aggressive.
I noticed that there wasn't much rotation behind them. Was that just kind of a product of the speed of Washington State's offense?
I mean, in all reality, a lot of it was the lack of plays. You said at halftime we played 20 plays. So you went into the game anticipating some tempo, some drives, and it didn't really play out that way. And even the second half, when you played a little bit more plays, like, it was spotty, right? So just kind of was a situation where we didn't feel like you had to force rotations. There wasn't really guys that you felt like were getting overworked in many ways, and we were able to get some guys on the field in different roles throughout the course of the game. But I'd say it was a little bit more on the flow of the game than to read into it too far.
As a defensive coordinator, with looking at Keontae Lewis and what you saw in two camps in the first two games, as a defensive coordinator, what do you feel he brings to the offense that's maybe different from what you saw last year even?
I think he has great size and speed. That's always a threat. And to see him out there playing with confidence is a lot of fun. He came in the spring and made some big plays like that, and I think opened the coach's eyes very, very quickly. And then just the consistency of learning new things and settling into a role. And it's always exciting when you see guys kind of go out there and make those first plays. I think of him, I think of Kamoe kind of making those first kind of big splash plays to introduce themselves to the fan base, and things we've seen now for quite a while here in fall camp and some in the spring. And it's really just the first introduction for some of the fans to kind of get to know who these guys are. But it's always exciting to see those guys get opportunities and make the most of it.